wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. Attorney Gavin and Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Yellow, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn that attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format. Coming this spring, Gavin Richard presents Unsolved Mysteries, the only podcast that looks at the mysterious deaths and circumstances of Black celebrities, entertainers, politicians, and activists such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, Michael Jackson, Prince, Enos Cosby, James Brown, Otis Redding, and many, many more. Hosted by Gavin Richard, and joining the podcast will be veteran journalist Albert Lanier Jr. You don't want to miss Unsolved Mysteries, coming this spring, 2022. place to be is right here with me. That is the trailer for Unsolved Mysteries. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know what time it is, then hit that like button like you Will Smith. Slap the shit out of that like button. Slap the shit out of that share and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and do that. We also, it is Get Random Topic Thursdays, only on channel GBoo2786 on Facebook via Gavin Richard, as well as Gavin Rich2786 on Periscope, and Gavin Richard on YouTube. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we got to bring in our special guest, Shawn James, in a little bit. But of course, to pay some dues, please. I know some of you may not have a Facebook page, but if you do, go to @CommonwealthCause, @CommonwealthCause, get the latest updates on our book. We actually putting some finishing. I'm gonna be working on the actual final touches this weekend. In fact, I think I could have it ready for pre-order. Then I'm trying to do that. I know I keep saying it, but just things have just come out of the woodwork for me. But I'm a man of my word. Just know that. And I say that to you all because I do not like procrastination. Procrastination is the biggest killer of dreams, ladies and gentlemen, even worse than Freddy Krueger. But also, in the meantime, I want you to order you some Nani's Creole blends, Nani's Creole blends, ladies and gentlemen. Go to naniscreoleblends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nani's goes great with every dish. Then we also have our music channel on Amazon and iTunes. You can go and gotta get on up, as well as Video Soul, ladies and gentlemen. So on our topics tonight, we'll be talking about how Jada Pinkett Smith responds in true fashion. More fallout over the Will Smith, Chris Rock debacle, Bad Boys 4. Will Smith reportedly checks into rehab. Biden says poses reparations for blacks unless it includes Native Americans. And we also have a little breaking news, of course. Katanji Brown Jackson officially wins the nomination as the first black female justice on the Supreme Court. I think we had a host of other topics we were going to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, so hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Now we're going to bring him in. He is the author of The Man Crisis, and he has been waiting very patiently. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all give big ups to the one and only brother, Shawn James. Good evening, Shawn. How are you?
Good evening, Gavin. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, ladies. I'm doing good. Sorry for the tardiness to you and to all. I was trying to get my father had a meeting, and I, of course, didn't want him out in New Orleans on the streets alone, given his condition. So I had to get him settled in and escort. Man, this is like being a parent in reverse when your parents get older. Taking care of mom and dad when they get older. Huh? So that's primarily it, guys. But yeah, good evening to all. We got Bossa Queenie, we got One Who Cares, and Derek Bailey in the chat. Gordon Freeman. Shawn, why don't you do a quick plug-in?
Well, the SJS Direct 2022 catalog is live, and the first two books in the SJS Direct 2022 catalog, ISIS Legacy and East Team Horror of the Hyena Woman, are available in paperback on Amazon.com right now. And you can get ISIS Legacy on Kindle, and you can pre-order East Team Horror of the Hyena Woman, which will be available on Kindle on Friday, May 13th.
All right. So that's pretty good, Shawn. Looking forward to that. So let us get into it. Of course, the breaking news earlier today, Katanji Brown Jackson is officially the next Supreme Court justice. She is set to take Justice Stephen Breyer's place, which I believe will be the start in June of this year when the sessions begin, summer sessions begin. So according to Associated Press, on a vote of 53 to 47, with 3 Republicans crossing party lines, Katanji Brown Jackson was officially won the nomination, or was officially voted in by the Senate to be the next Supreme Court justice. Biden tweeted afterwards that, quote, "We have taken another step to make toward making our highest court reflect the diversity of America. Senator Chuck Schumer exulted that it was a, quote, a wonderful day, a joyous day, and an inspiring day for the Senate, for the Supreme Court, and for the United States of America. Harris said that she left the Capitol, that she was overjoyed, deeply moved. Now, this is obviously Katanji Brown Jackson here with Grandpa Joe. That's her walking into Capitol Hill earlier this year with Senator Sherrod Brown. And that's the image from the vote. Now, do you want, I guess we could play the vote, I guess some footage of the vote if anybody would like to see.
Under the previous order, all post-cloture time has expired.
The question occurs on the nomination of Katanji Brown Jackson of the District of Columbia to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States.
I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There is, and certainly appears to be a sufficient second. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin. Ms. Baldwin, aye. Mr. Barrasso. No. Mr. Barrasso, no. Mr. Bennett.
On this vote, the yeas are 53, the nays are 47, and this nomination is confirmed.
Oh, this is ridiculous. This is not Madam Katanji with the nomination of votes. This is ridiculous.
Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table, and the president will immediately be notified of the Senate's action.
Madam President, very happily, I note the absence of a quorum.
Oh, this is a disgrace. So what, you damn fool? You ain't done nothing. All right. So Katanji Brown Jackson is the first Black female high court justice. Now, she's on a predominantly conservative court that votes usually 6-3. So when Breyer retires, the vote will likely be 5-4. So it still would be conservative and not have a strong effect. But this is what justices do. This is what presidents do. When they get in office, they select someone based off their party lines, based off their ideals. And Katanji Brown Jackson, just from looking at her record, you will be those that support this because they want to see a Black female justice. You all better question what it is that you're supporting, because while you may support an image and how it looks, and yeah, you're Black girl, you want your Black girls to look up to somebody, all your skin folk aren't necessarily your kinfolk. And her record speaks for itself. Now, Professor Jason Black shared this on Saturday on his show, this letter that was written by the first Black federal judge of Alabama. And he asks Joe Biden to please strongly reconsider nominating Katanji Brown Jackson as the next Chief Associate Justice. He says, citing the ruling back in 2016, a class action against Lockheed Martin on behalf of 5,500 Black workers, Jackson declined to approve a settlement that had been reached that would have paid out $22 million to the plaintiffs, Clemens said. It also would have implemented reforms in Lockheed's evaluation system for pay and promotions, he stated. Now, Lockheed Martin is, as Brother Jason Black pointed out, the largest contractor with the United States. They are not just they're not just in arms and defense. They also do aerospace, information security, technology corporation, and it's a worldwide corporation. In fact, I look here on Lockheed Martin's website, the estimated revenue is $65.4 billion. Half of the corporation's annual sales are to the United States Department of Defense. And in 2000, for instance, let's give you some more information on their bit revenue. In 2013, 78% of Lockheed Martin's revenue was from military sales. It topped the list of U.S. federal government contractors and received nearly 10% of the funds paid out by the Pentagon. In 2009, U.S. government contractors accounted for $38.4 billion, which is 85%. Foreign government contracts for $5.8 billion, and commercial and other contracts for $900 million. So that's 2%. Foreign government contracts is 13%. So 85% was $38.4 billion. Now, Clement obviously is a man who knows what he's talking about. And of course, he says the reason why Breyer chose Jackson or wanted Jackson is because he retired. She was his law clerk. When he retired, he wanted his law clerk to take over, just like I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Elena Kagan. Someone was who was Scalia's law clerk, I believe, was. I'm trying to see who succeeded him. Wasn't it? Who's the new female justice that's on there? Amber. I should know this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, yo. Yeah, but a lot of the law clerks, when they start out, like the former Chief Justice William Rehnquist, he was the law clerk for Justice Robert Jackson. So they all look out for each other. Yeah, Amy Coney Barrett. She was his law clerk. She was Justice Scalia's law clerk. That's who that was. So yeah, Shawn, I know you're sitting there waiting. What do you think of what happened with this nomination? Are you excited? Before you answer, I wanted to show everybody something right quick. I'm gonna let you in, Shawn. I know you're waiting, but I did a poll. I asked who was excited about having Katanji Brown Jackson as the next justice of the court. I want you to look here. I asked if you were excited, neutral, don't care, not good. 2% said they were excited. 5% said they were neutral. 27% said they don't care. And 66% of you said not good out of 44 votes. And let's see who left the comment. Lamiko said at the end of the day, it's just another first Black woman symbolic gesture. In other words, we gave you Black people reparations. Okay, Shawn, let's end it on that. You go ahead and take over.
Well, I have to agree with the comment, and that this is basically an empty symbolic gesture and is one designed to strategically go after the Black female vote. Now, the You Go Girl crowd is excited over the whole idea of a Katanji Brown Jackson being the first Black female Supreme Court justice, because all they're feeling is the emotions they have regarding a Black woman being nominated for this position. And because all they think about is the surface of this whole empty symbolic gesture, they don't see past the flash of Joe Biden's gimmick to see the substance here as related to this woman not being somebody who is out to go out here and benefit Black people, or go out here and focus on trying to interpret the law to protect Black interests. No, this woman is just here again as a placeholder to go out here and make it look like things are fair passively, but aggressively, she is going to be supporting white supremacy like she did as related to that ruling, as related to that mass shooting and all of those damages that Black people would have received. So your Katanji Brown Jackson is not anybody who is interested in giving black people justice. She's just a black face that goes out here and is going to interpret the law as related to what white supremacy wants to hear and see. So everybody thinks that they're getting a first black woman, but this black woman is nothing more than a white supremacist in blackface, and this swirling hashtag divested black woman.
She's the female left of Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, she's just a liberal version of Clarence Thomas, and she's basically a chocolate-covered white woman, and she's heavily connected to everyone here as related to the system. So she is not of any good to make any changes because she receives benefits from said system. Now, the only people who are celebrating this as some sort of accomplishment are the strong, independent black women who are part of the You Go Girl crowd, who are only looking at the surface as related to this woman and not looking at how this woman is completely detached from the black community and has no interest in serving the interest of the black community and doesn't care about the black community because this boomer bootleg has basically gotten hers and now she's going to screw everybody. So boomer bootleg is something I call many of these baby boomers. They're baby boomer bootlegs, and all they do is they come from that generation of where they get theirs, see themselves as individuals, and they don't really care about how their decisions affect the group. They believe that since they got theirs and they're in this big position, they don't have to do anything for anyone else. So your Katanji Brown Jackson, she's just basically there to be window dressing to make it look like everything is so fair. But when we look at Joe Biden's policies, they aren't really fair to black people because this, as I see it, is another desperate attempt to try to get the You Go Girl crowd to go out here and vote blue in November, make them think they're going to get something and get them back on that blue plantation, going out here picking that blue cotton and thinking they're going to get something out of the deal when Joker Joe already told you you're going to get nothing. But he knows that if he goes to the black woman, because the black woman controls the purse strings, he can go out here and manipulate her into giving up a vote for a candidate or a group of candidates that are going to give us nothing in return. But what they're finding now is that more and more black people are becoming aware of these boomer bootlicks and these hand-picked minstrels, and we're seeing right past them because we are past the days of the first so-called black. We don't want the flash and the symbolism of a so-called first black. What we want are the first tangibles brought to the table. And because we want the first tangibles brought to the table, we're tired of you trying to trot out some high educated token, house slave, and trying to make it look like you're doing something for us when this person has already been programmed to do nothing for us and see us as nothing more than below them. So most black people already see the game with your Katanji clown Jackson, and that's why the only people celebrating this whole situation are the baby boomer bootlegs and a couple of the church girls in the You Go Girl crowd. Otherwise, this is not any sort of success for black people because we are far beyond the first black whoever, because many of these first black whoever's do absolutely nothing for black people, and all they do is get their crumbs from white supremacy and leave it to go on to do business as usual, like a Katanji Clown Jackson is going to do.
Right. And she really, in truthfulness, won't have an effect in that Supreme Court because of being conservative, predominantly conservative. 5-4 is going to be just actually the opposite of what it was a few years ago when you had Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the swing Anthony. I'm trying to think of this. He was the guy that was the justice that was always the swing vote. Kennedy, was it Kennedy?
Yeah,
Anthony Kennedy. Yeah, he was the swing vote. He's the reason why you have homosexual marriage. He's also the reason why abortion was still around. He was the key judge in those decisions. The most popular decision he made was Planned Parenthood versus Casey. He also was responsible for Lawrence v. Texas, United States versus Windsor, Obergefell versus Hodges. That was the case that allowed same-sex marriage. He was a part of all of that.
Yeah. And what they want to do is use Katanji Brown Jackson in the same way they use Clarence Thomas as a rubber stamp. And she's not going to do anything for black people. So when I look at her, it's like, yeah, you got a black woman, and all she is a black face, but she's going to be out here supporting white anti-black racism and white policies that run against black people.
Computer Robots ask Shawn, speaking of baby boomer bootlicks, what do you think the greatest generation and the silent generation thought about their kids and could have done differently?
Well, the whole thing is that they could have not given their kids everything, and that would have helped build up their character. And that if they had gotten some discipline and some character, maybe they wouldn't have taken life for granted. Because one of the problems with the baby boomers is they got everything and they just didn't appreciate what they had. And because they didn't appreciate what they had, they don't want to go out here and help give anybody else a helping hand. All they want to do is kick everybody down because they've got theirs and they're going to screw everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think was going to happen in November? Do you think this is going to have some type of impact? That's my
This have no impact at all. I think what's going to happen is the bloodbath is coming. There's nothing they can do to stop the bloodbath. And which Joe Biden is trying to stop it, but it's like trying to stop a tsunami with a garage door, and it's just not going to work. The whole thing is that your leftists have alienated the entire country with their crazy far left policies and their complete detachment from reality. And the fact that they're completely detached from each other at this point, because I saw Joe Biden wandering around the White House after an event, and it's like they're in their own world, and we desperately need some sort of check to balance out our country and get it back on track. And this Biden administration is a complete mess, and the only way out of it, outside of a civil war, is to vote these clowns out, because they have done absolutely nothing for anyone in the 1.25 years as related to helping the American people. No, they just went on a crazy agenda, and even the dumbest person in the room, AOC, sees how bad it is, and we really need a correction. And I see a 1994 massacre getting ready to happen all across this country as related to these blue states.
She's really, it's really going to be a massacre. Yeah, I think it's going to be that way too. Just looking at it, I think everybody's frustrated right now. We have gas prices that have skyrocketed. We are facing possible another recession.
Well, they said it into a recession. The whole thing is you had a functioning economy under Donald Trump, but because of their emotional decisions to try to spite him, they wound up destroying the entire economy.
Yeah. And I mean, I think everybody is seeing now we were doing better under Trump. Yes, I didn't like the racist rhetoric that he espoused, but you're also getting a racist rhetoric here because this man has flat out said he's not going to do anything for black folks. He's told black people in his conference with these Negro leaders from Mark Morial to Al Sharpton and others, he sat in that Zoom conference and talked to them like kids and said, you better get with the Mexicans and Hispanics. They're going to outnumber you. What have they done other than get invited to the White House? Not a damn thing.
Nope.
What's
They're
up?
useless.
What's up, Bishop Scott? Haven't talked to you in the longest. They are useless. So speaking of useless, speaking of old timers, let's get into the next subject, y'all. Y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen, and ask me and put in the chat, are you impressed with Katanji Brown Jackson? Do you think anything's gonna happen with her being in the White House? I want to know your opinions. I've seen my screen, but I doubt many of you would say she's not gonna do a damn thing, I'm sure. So the next thing I want to talk about is Joe Biden's comments on reparations. Now, this is not new, but Biden was on with Ed. If you remember a year ago, right around the time of elections, Joe Biden was asked about reparations, and he stated that it only depends, number one, on how much it's going to cost and if Native Americans are included. But President Biden said he does not approve of reparations for blacks unless Native Americans are a part of it. Now, I have been trying like crazy to actually see where the video is. I know Willie D talked about it. Queen Ahmadiyya Shakur talked about it, but I can't find it when I go on Google. It's not existing. Type in Biden opposes reparations for blacks. You will not find anything coming up in the year of 2022. But I can show you when he was DNC nominee, when he was the Democratic nominee before he became president. I will show you this video if you remember this. This was the video that if you remember, Ed Gordon and Joe Biden talked about reparations, and Biden made the remark, it depends on how much it is and whether Native Americans are included. So I see this video right here. It's with TMZ. I don't like TMZ, but I'm just going to play this Twitter video that we got right here.
We can deal with
Well, they're not mutually exclusive. You don't have to wait around.
No, they're
for the
not
study.
exclusive.
That's the point.
No, but they look, they're not mutually exclusive. But I can't believe that whatever it is, the African American community would not support what I'm talking about. In addition to,
Again, I don't think we have to. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, so we can move on because we got to get some phone calls in as well. But let me ask you this then: if in fact a calculation comes to you that you are satisfied with, would you then say, I'm for reparations?
the answer is it depends on what it was and will it include Native Americans as well.
All right.
For the study, we can deal
Well,
with
they're
it.
not mutually exclusive. You don't have to wait
No,
around.
they're not exclusive. No, but they look, they're not mutually exclusive. But I can't believe that whatever it is, the African American community would not support what I'm talking about. In addition to,
Well, I don't think we have to. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this so we can move on because we got to get some phone calls in as well. But let me ask you this then: if in fact a calculation comes to you that you are satisfied with, would you then say, I'm for reparations?
the answer is it would depend on what it was and will it include Native Americans as well.
All right. Let me.
Now, this was in 2020. And supposedly he said this again from what unless they play in an old video. But it was brought to my attention he had said this. I saw various people talking about it. From Willie D, as I said, I saw Queen Ahmadiyya Shakur talking about it on her show. So apparently he did say this. Obviously he said this. Now, this was in 2020, but you listen to Ed Gordon, you know, I don't know. I think Ed Gordon works, a lot along the lines. Most of these Negroes, these organizations, they all are in line with the demagogic agenda. They're all aligned with the Democrats. But this is what we're going to get, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you voted for. This is what you wanted, Chucks and Pearls. You didn't want the orange man. And this man says it depends on whether it includes Native Americans and how much it's going to cost. What do you say, Shawn?
Well, I say that's unacceptable because when it comes to reparations, it was foundational Black Americans who were the ones who were oppressed by slavery, oppressed by Jim Crow, and oppressed by current and ongoing discrimination. And this is a tangible that should only exclusively be for foundational Black Americans like myself and you, not be something given to others. Now, what your Joe Biden wants to do is go out here and use minorities as a way to deflect from having to give Black foundational Americans what they deserve as related to compensation for the discrimination and racism and slavery we suffered. And what they're trying to do is just make it into, let's give it to a minority group so that they could go out here and find a way to minimize things so that they don't have to give foundational Black Americans tangibles and a wealth base. What they want to do is go out here and try to tie it to Native Americans who have already received reparations already. I mean, they have already got their own land in the form of reservations, and they've gotten all sorts of compensation for decades. So they have already been recompensed by the government for years, and they also have land where there is no legal jurisdiction from the U.S. government. So they're already taken care of. It's time to give foundational Black Americans their compensation, and it's been time, and we don't want to have it tied to somebody else. No, our tangibles and our issues are not the same as Latinos, not the same as Asians, not the same as Native Americans. No, our tangibles and our issues need to be dealt with specifically for us, and we need to have our programs and tangibles all directed that say Black Americans, especially foundational Black Americans. I don't want to hear somebody else because they've already gotten their tangibles. No, we need to have something where it clearly says foundational Black Americans, because we're past the days of this deflection where you come in and say minority, and then we get all of these other people running the programs, getting the benefits, and many foundational Black Americans, especially heterosexual Black men, are left out in the lurch and they're not given anything at all. Meanwhile, everybody else is getting rich off of Black people's pain, and Black people are still suffering to this day. So we are past the days of these guys using their weasel words to try to weasel out of things by saying Black and Latino, Black and Asian, Black and minority. No, it's only going to be Black and Black first, or we're not interested in hearing about any proposal.
Yeah. And nobody, the thing too, Sean, when I look at this is how is it that he can approve, monies for LGBTQ people? They've approved monies for, you remember they did that?
Yeah.
They were giving monies to groups if they were the victims of discrimination, weren't able to marry. Yes, that's right. They could get back because they can get back monies since they weren't recognized, even though they were together, didn't recognize marriage back until 2015 across the United States. They're now allowing gay and lesbian couples to recoup monies. You also have what else? He's given Native American stuff already. The Obama administration approved millions of dollars for them. Various groups. So what are they even included on? That has Black issues have to be treated with a particularity because Black people are a special group of people. We're the only group of people who did not immigrate over into the United States, although we did, as Tariq Nasheed has pointed out, there were foundational Black Americans before slavery. I'm aware of that, but it's a unique thing with the Black experience in the United States. And when you have a president who can get up on television and continuously disrespect the community like he has, and yet we have so-called Black leaders who do not have the guts to stand up to him and challenge him, it's problematic, and it's why we end up with stuff like this.
Yeah, it is very, very problematic because Joe Biden basically he's got a blank check for the Ukrainians, he's got a blank check for the Afghans, he's got a blank check for all of those Mexicans that are coming across the border, but he has no money for foundational Black Americans, and that's where we have to really draw the line. Because if he can find money for people who are not citizens, then he can definitely find money for reparations and earmark it directly for foundational Black Americans.
Yeah. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Some more stuff I want to talk about. So Ronald Griffin and Knight Rider said the so-called Native American got $31 billion in the rescue plan last year without a word, whisper, or study. Salute to you also, Lamiko, Bossquini, Black Voltron. Yeah, Black Voltron is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favorites. What's up, BV? We got Knight Rider. He says Jim Crow Sloppy Joe's Biden's 40-year career in Senate of anti-black policy speaks for itself. Some of our people are just simple as hell and don't have good common sense to support that anti-black, out-of-closet racist. Now, something Tariq Nasheed brought this up. I got to bring this up because Al Sharpton and who else? And Ben Crump were talking because in the Amir Locke situation, they chose not to press charges. And Al Sharpton spoke. Let me play that right quick. Now, Amir Locke, if you don't remember, that was the brother up in Minneapolis that was sleeping in his bed. And I didn't have this as a topic, but I'll just talk about it briefly. The brother was in his bed, was on his couch sleeping. There was a no-knock warrant. The cops, I believe, entered with a key. They made noise, and obviously, if you're in, like most people, someone comes and makes noise while you're asleep, you're startled, yet alone if it's only you that's supposed to be in the apartment and you hear someone say, so his reaction was, I think, what most human beings would do. Had they heard that and they heard someone who was not supposed to be there, they reach for their weapon because their life, they believe, is in danger. And sadly, he was killed. Now, I want you to listen to this. This is what Al Sharpton, these are your leaders. These are who they put. It's not my leader, but this is who they picked to lead black folks. Hold on.
Because this is something for all of us. And we pledged out of National Action Network and our national convention, and we're going to the Justice Department to read. There cannot be the allowance of no-knock laws nowhere in this country, whether it is this case or whether it's Breonna Taylor. It's all because we're dealing with state rights legislation around no-knock laws. This young man was in his own home, laying down with a licensed gun, and he is killed, and they have defense. How do you defend yourself in my house when you don't have a legal right? The warrant did not have his name or apartment there. What are you defending yourself against? Breaking and entering into my house? So it must be federal law. And we want her to know that we're going to stand with her and go to the Justice Department and demand they review this. This is not over. The state made a decision, but the state will not close this case. We will fight with this family to get federal investigation on this case. This is why, right here at this convention, you have the family of Ahmaud Arbery, who would not stop with just a state case, but also demand the federal. They were able to get the state case in the same Minneapolis. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's why we need federal law. I want her to know we're standing with her, and we're going to make sure the Justice Department knows that we all over the country would demand the Locke case become a federal investigation. Before hearing from the mother, let me bring our Attorney General of Black America.
Well, first off, let's rewind that. Remember, he mentioned Ahmaud Arbery. He didn't point out the fact that the administration, the Biden administration's Department of Justice, actually worked out a deal with those 3 white supremacists who killed Ahmaud Arbery. They were actually going to let these men do all of their time in federal prison until they exhausted their appeals. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
But he didn't bring that up. And it was the Arbery family who only through their objection did the judge oppose that. Now here comes Crump, Ben Crump. Somebody asked me to impersonate Ben Crump.
Who represents the family in this case.
Thank you so much, Reverend Al, for always being our leader. And it is so ironic that it would happen here at the National Action Network Convention where Karen Locke, the mother of Amir Locke, were joining other family members, mostly Black mothers who had their children killed unjustly. And she was coming to try to talk about how to be supportive of them and them to bind together.
The Black Elmer Fudd. How will we be supportive to them and provided them together? Well, I'm not making fun of the people that died, of course, but the Trayvon and my Brown, we got to march for justice. We got to do this for Cleveland. The Black Elmer Fudd.
I've been notes to her, Reverend Al, that at the very moment she's preparing to come downstairs, she gets the news that they're not going to charge the police officer for breaking into the house in the wee hours of the morning while her son is asleep. He's so asleep that the cop kicks the couch twice to wake him up. He immediately wakes up, not knowing who they are, and he's a law-abiding citizen. He's never had a criminal history, has a permit to carry a gun. He goes to protect himself. Where is the Second Amendment supporters for Black people who have a right to bear arms? Where's the NRA? They should be outraged. It shouldn't just be the National Action Network. They keep promoting Second Amendment gun rights to protect your home, to protect your sanctuary. Well, that applies to Black people too.
Can't talk like he's struggling. He sounds like 1923. That applies to Black people too. I met Ben Crump. He actually was a nice guy a couple of years ago. He took a picture with me and all. But he, Black America's Attorney General. What do you think, Shawn?
It's just a complete farce. A lot of these guys are just spewing hot air, and they make you feel good for a moment, but actually you're going to get the same amount of nothing you usually get. And that's the sad part about cases like Amir Locke. We get a lot of these so-called activists who talk a good game, but at the end of the day, we don't get any justice. And Ahmaud Arbery showed that to us. For all of the hot air, guys like Al Sharpton and many of these civil rights dinosaurs were spewing, the only way the Arbery family got justice is if they stepped up and did it themselves, because these activists were probably working behind the scenes with the Biden administration to try to get these deals through and keep the business going on as usual. Now, when I look at this whole situation, sadly with Amir Locke, it is a travesty of justice because these no-knock warrants, again, your Mayor Frey said that they weren't supposed to even be legal at the time, but once he got caught, all of a sudden now he wants to get rid of the no-knock warrants in Minneapolis. And what he's doing now, or what they're doing now, is trying to make it look like they want to get rid of the no-knock warrants, which are basically terrorism and a way to terrorize Black people and have been weaponized to terrorize Black people. But these activists don't think that they can be vulnerable to the same types of attacks and terrorism. So they put on a show for everybody, but they're not really genuine. And they are impeding our ability to get justice in situations like in the case of Amir Locke. Now, when I look at this whole situation, again, I just get tired of listening to the hot air of these so-called activists who just talk a good game, but can't really get anything done as related to we, the foundational Black American people. All they are is a buffer group who gets in the way of us getting justice, and they keep us from getting tangible justice as related to the criminal justice system. And that is one of the most irritating things about this whole group altogether.
Yeah, Black Attorney General. I'd pick Judge Mathis before I'd pick Greg Mathis. You a crackhead, ma'am. Yes, you're a crackhead. I see the white around your lips. I see the nostrils. Your nostrils are inflated and your pupils are dilated, ma'am. Yes, you are. I used to run the streets all the time. Of course it is. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's your Judge Mathis. Or I would pick Judge Joe Brown. Y'all know these sissified punks went into this young man's home and opened fire with 10 rounds out of a typical Glock 45. I carried me a 357 revolver along with 3 AR-15s, 30-round capacities with the high point velocity. Judge knows his guns. Ben Crump, we are outraged by this stuff. I said the black Elmer Fudd. Between him and Judge is like the black Yosemite Sam, and Ben is like Elmer Fudd. Stop all this ruckus, varmint. Okay. Hi there, Brother Bernard. What's up, Bishop Scott? I got to talk about this. This is a little light news. We'll get into this, but T.I. snaps on a female comedian for bringing up his accusations. Now, if you don't remember last year, remember when T.I. and Tiny had a show called The Family Hustle on VH1 and MTV? Well, they pulled that because T.I. got accused of, and his wife, they got accused of sex trafficking. And a comedian I've never heard of out of ATL named Laura Knight saw T.I. in the audience and was cracking jokes. And T.I. didn't like it. Now, what I find interesting, though, too, is that T.I. has ventured Shawn into my field, my world of stand-up comedy. Now, I want you to all see how he reacts. Now, this is a brief clip, but this happened a few days ago. This was out in ATL. T.I. actually stormed the stage and took the mic. So watch what happens. Fair use.
No, shut the fuck up for a second. Hey, listen. No. As many times as you talk on that shit, nigga, I'm gonna check your motherfucking ass as long as it takes. Nigga, when you stop talking about it, when you stop playing with me and mine, I'ma stop saying something. Nigga, ain't no motherfucking case, ain't never been no motherfucking case, cause I ain't did nothing wrong, and my wife ain't did nothing wrong. And if you keep on playing with me, nigga, I'm gonna motherfucking continue to confront you publicly, verbally. First of all, having a board day, we've never had a forum on crime. T.I.'s innocent. I fully believe it. Get it up for him. There is no charge. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Don't play with me about that. I haven't put his Hey. Don't play with me about that. I'm not. The one thing I am is a comedian. I'm not playing with you. See, now you're going to get misunderstood. This is not a rap battle. This is not that. This is a motherfucking comedy show. And be clear, if I want to make jokes about something, I'll make jokes about something. Absolutely. No, you're not going to tell me to shut the fuck up. It's my shit. This is my shit. Be very clear. This is no way.
I'm gonna stop the video right now because they'll put a copyright strike on this, although it's fair use. But because of the music, you know how that is with their bullshit. So the female comedian, she eventually finished her set and shook hands on it with T.I. But T.I. has been venturing into stand-up. And T.I. is not a stand-up comedian. T.I. is a rapper who is trying to do stand-up. He's venturing into it as a hobby because seriously, if he was serious about that, he would not get on the stage with another stand-up comedian performing, even if they're talking bad about him. You know, if you got a problem with it, I handle it privately. But, you know, I've never, and from what Queen Shakur has stated, T.I. when he would go to the comedy clubs up in Atlanta, like Uptown Comedy Corner, he would actually heckle some of the other comedians, and one comedian in particular, and that comedian got on him and heckled him back and was cracking up the audience with it. So he's upset that someone poked jokes at the allegations he was facing. And I think Ti, as a lawyer myself, I believe he's innocent. He's innocent until proven guilty. That's what the law says. He has not been charged with anything. And obviously, when you have something, when you involve your family as well, and it affects your brand, your way you make money. Although Ti is a millionaire, but still, you lose your TV show. That affects you. But Ti shouldn't have handled it this way. I get he's street and all this shit, but if you're serious about stand up, you like doing stand up comedy, then you don't get on stage. That's actually a girl, Bishop Scott. Her name is Lauren Knight. That young man's face, yeah, she built like a man. Bishop couldn't tell. But yeah, since this Will Smith fiasco with Shawn, we're going to talk about Will Smith next. But what did you think of this?
I think it's another case of things getting out of control. I mean, I really think that, yeah, you can do all sorts of comedy, but I really, myself, as a guy who writes comedy, I draw the line at certain subjects like allegations of sex trafficking. I mean, that's not really funny, and I wouldn't be making fun of T.I. as related to that. I mean, that to me was drawing the line. And then the line was further crossed by your T.I., who broke the boundary by coming up on stage. So this goes back to what you were saying about how comedy, in that discussion we had about comedy being dead last week. I mean, it's incidents like this that really show that people really don't understand that there's a line as related to comedy. I mean, yes, you can be edgy in comedy, but there's certain subjects even the edgiest comedians don't touch, such as sex trafficking, pedophilia. Those are subjects that certain comedians don't touch because that just crosses the line. And even though comedy pushes an envelope, we don't push it that far because that's just absolutely subjects that just aren't funny. So that's one problem as related to what went on. The other problem was related to T.I. going up on the stage. And that's really, again, crossing a boundary for me because people coming up on stage as related to a comedy set, that's really going too far as I see it, because if you really don't like the jokes at the show, you either leave the show or you go talk to the person on the side and let them know that that's going too far. But to come up on stage, that's really crossing a boundary. And I'm not really liking this trend of people crossing the line because it may lead to somebody going even further and going out here and doing harm to someone. So I'm not really liking this whole trend of people crossing the line like this because it shouldn't be people coming up on stage and going back and forth with people like this because it's really dangerous and it really is not a good environment for comedy, because if the whole thing is that comedy club should be a safe place for people to get a laugh, and the whole thing is we have some fragile and sensitive people out here, but in this case the subject matter as I see it was going a bit too far. I mean, if you want to talk about T.I.'s other issues as related to him sort of being like Tupac as related to arrests and things like that, but leave the sex trafficking and all these other allegations that haven't even been proven in court out of the whole routine.
Well, what's pushing the envelope, Shawn? Because what goes too far? Because comedians don't know that until the actual line is crossed. It's like with Richard Pryor, Damon Wayans and Richard Pryor said this. Once I find the line, I cross it. That's the comedian's job.
Yeah, that's the comedian's job to a point, but you don't want to be making jokes about pedophilia and sex trafficking. Those are subjects.
I mean, I've seen Louis C.K. Well, Louis C.K. has done that on Saturday Night Live.
Well, I wouldn't go there because it's just not a line I'm going to cross. That's a line I do not cross. I mean, and I've written some raw comedy stuff, but I'm not going to go across that line because that's just too offensive for me.
Well, I understand that, and I mean, yeah, in my cerebral. See, here's the thing about stand-up comedy: the job of the comedian is to make the audience laugh. Is to make the audience laugh, and it's also the job to make them think too.
I can do that without going that far.
Well, I hear you, but what I hear what you're saying, but wait, let me finish. You don't have to talk about that topic if you don't want to, and that's fine if people are uncomfortable. And I don't talk about that. But when we talk about crossing the line, like we mentioned earlier, George Carlin blasphemed God all the time. He made fun and insulted religion, and I'm sure there were Muslims who didn't like that. Now, me personally, I would not like jokes. I would, depending on what it is, I'm never going to say never, but I would never, me personally, I would never say anything against the Virgin Mary or the Blessed Mother. I wouldn't cross that, the Mother of God. I wouldn't do anything like that, or or talk about God. I may crack jokes on religion and say stuff about growing up in that household and stuff you saw. I had a routine about going to church with the girl, and let's just say the girl's name was Vagina. I didn't know her name, but I was going with her so I could get some. That was that was a joke I did. But I never would talk specifically, about, the Blessed Mother. But yeah, I think and to share with everybody, T.I. posted a video showing that he and the young lady had reconciled.
Hey.
I'm not gonna play all of it, but apparently they got back.
You dig? I triggered her first. She triggered me second. You dig what I'm saying? I accept that. I accept that. But the main part about it is, I do not stand by or condone any unnecessary death threats, any unnecessary people going after her, trying to. Don't do that shit in my name, because I'm a player, and I don't play like that.
I'm not gonna play the whole video, but I mean, yeah. So what I'm just was saying is that yeah, there's some stuff I don't know. And here's the thing: I don't know exactly what joke she made about that, his charges, or how she uh, went around that, what was exactly said, but because only in the clip you see the reaction from T.I., and that's when the camera started rolling because T.I. is in the audience and he's obviously more well known than this young lady who's a fellow comedian. I never heard of her, but you know what? She's going to probably use this to milk for more shows. People have seen already, it's trending, it's made news. Go ahead and make your money from it now, which is probably what she may have been in the back of her mind doing. But she probably didn't expect T.I. to get up on stage like that, and she defended what she was doing because the job, comedians do push the envelope, and it happens. And yes, you're gonna see. I have already seen people. I've had a situation, like I said before. You have people that will complain even about the lightest joke and pitch a fit. I saw Karen walk out on a guy who was clowning her in the club, not even about her appearance or anything, but just how she was behaving. And she wanted to complain to the manager about it. I've seen this. So you're not going to please everybody, but comedians, like I say again, if you're on stage and somebody jumps up and tries to take a mic or comes on stage and they're not a comedian, they are a threat. I don't know you. You don't know me. Now, I don't think T.I. was going to assault her because then he knows if he did that, he would be in a world of trouble and he'd be spending a lot of money on his lawyers trying to spend that and also cut settlement checks.
Yep.
Yeah. But I see I understand what you're saying. And some stuff people don't touch. But I remember this idiot, it wasn't really a joke, but someone that made, it was more a shock thing than anything, trying to get people response. He made a reference to Kobe Bryant and his plane in his helicopter crash. And this white boy got called out for it, but he had a habit of doing stuff like that. If you recall, I wouldn't have done anything like that because the man died along with his daughter and several other people. That's not something you joke about. Me personally. So, yeah, this comedy troll was Aria Shafir. This is the guy who made the joke about Kobe Bryant. If you see him here, he said he died too late, 23 years too late, and got away with rape. A guy who got away with rape got here today. Kobe Bryant is gone. I'm here in Charlotte, the home of the team that originally drafted him. Maybe he wouldn't have raped that chick in Denver if he had stayed with the Hornets. He said this. And he also, he also said Kobe Bryant died 23 years too late today. He got away with rape because all the Hollywood liberals who attack comedy enjoy rooting for the Lakers more than they dislike rape. But he's not joking at this point. This is not a joke. He means what he says. And he actually had his shows canceled because of it. Now he apologized, of course, for it, and now everybody's forgotten about it. But this is the type of stuff. This is where it's not funny.
Yeah, that's going too far.
You're absolutely right, Bishop. Don Rickles, Red Fox, Lenny Bruce, George Carlin had a no-holds-bar comedy style. Richard Pryor as well. Unless it's the guy who made the hokey pokey. Because you know, at his funeral, they had difficulty getting him in the coffin. They put his right arm in and they put his right arm out. Craig Robinson did that joke on Def Comedy Jam. I can't claim credit for it, but hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I could get away with that one, Bossa Queenie. Come on. So let's talk about this, Shawn. More fallout over the Will Smith, Chris Rock debacle. As Bad Boys 4 was postponed, as well as Emancipation, which was a movie he was doing that was shot here in Louisiana for Apple TV. And reportedly, Will is checking into rehab. I don't know if you've heard that, but it's been reported that Will Smith is seeking rehab, especially in light of what happened at the Oscars. According to, now I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but if you read, this is coming from the West News, it says that he will seek professional therapy to deal with stress at a celebrity rehab center following the attack on Chris Rock. It was not a night to remember for the American actor who took to the stage to hit a comedian for making fun of the actor's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, who has alopecia. As reported by the British publication The Sun, the artist will spend some time in a rehab facility as a result of the incident. According to the publication, the impact of the backlash has hit Will so hard, he will be getting help on dealing with stress. Goes on further. He says, this is unquestionably the battle of his career. It will be a high-end retreat used by the rich and famous, and he will be doing a lot of soul searching and working out how he can move forward, continue to tell the Sun stories. Now, he's just lucky he didn't actually have to deal with jail for assaulting someone. Not really, assault or battery doesn't result in you going to prison. It's a misdemeanor. But you would have been arrested and probably issued a summons at least. Or being who he was, I'm pretty sure they would have liked to have dragged him and put bars across his chest and show that to the rest of the world. That ugly mugshot of this black man who won an Oscar for portraying a positive black father who got his daughters and his family out of the ghettos in Compton. That's not a shock to me. And the sad thing is that the people who suffer the most is not Will Smith. It's the people around Will Smith, the people who worked under him, because they're out of a job. The people that worked with him on the set, the extras, the other actors, the cinematographers, the director, the producer, the screenwriter, the production assistant. They're the ones that suffer because they're not working. And for what? And then you got Jada. I said Jada Pinkett responds in true fashion. Now, it was reported by a source. It didn't say Jada Pinkett herself, but it was reported, if she has not retracted this, and Jada Pinkett Smith, quote, wishes Will Smith didn't slap Chris Rock at the Oscars. It says that, according to this source, it was in the heat of the moment and it was him overreacting. He knows that, she knows that. They're in agreement that he overreacted. A source exclusively tells US Weekly about where the couple stands now. And it goes further to say, according to an insider, the Different World alum didn't want Smith to get in an altercation to defend her. Quote, she's not one of those women that needs protecting. He didn't need to do what he did. She didn't need protecting. She's not a wallflower. The source shared, she's a strong woman, an opinionated woman, and she can fight her own battles. But she will stand by him. Now, Shawn, I don't know if you ever saw this, but Jada Pinkett Smith, a couple of years ago on Red Table Talk, she's always embarrassed her husband, but Will Smith planned a birthday for her, and she did a video. This was at the Red Table Talk. She shitted on him throwing this birthday party for her. Now I want you to listen to this. Is this on? I'm trying to see if this will play on IG, but this is from IG. Yeah, so this is the clip here. Now I want y'all to listen to this. Okay, fair use, by the way, fair use.
The shit for me happened when I turned 40.
Mhm.
That's when I had a midlife crisis.
Yeah, your 40th birthday was my low point. And she's told me that the party was the most ridiculous display of my ego. Crushed. Right? And to this day, I know I was crushed because it was true.
It was party for her.
Yeah.
She was the only one that wasn't smiling at it. And what he did, he planned her birthday, 40th birthday. He had been planning it for 3 years. He had a documentary for her to show at her birthday, detailing her family history, hidden tapes of her grandfather. He traced down her ancestors. He got Mary J. Blige to perform. And Jada was not happy. She said, quote, that was the most disgusting display of ego I've ever seen in my life. And allegedly, this letter Willow wrote supposedly as a child to bring for Tupac to come back to life to, quote, make her mommy happy. Will Smith is just not a man in crisis. He's a man that's over the cliff without a fucking parachute. When your daughter can get on Instagram and write a letter to a dead man to come back to life? How insulting that has to be. I don't know how I would take it. Your child doesn't, the child doesn't, forget Jada not respecting him. The child don't respect him. Does it sound like a dog? I mean, yeah, she was a little girl. I get it, but that sound like a child. Does that sound like the child looks up to her father?
Sounds like a child's been taught to disrespect her father. Saw a lot of those in the South Bronx.
And look, being a celebrity, that's got to be hard. Because your marriage, your life, your private life, that's in the spotlight. But here's the thing. If Will Smith had not walked up to Chris Rock, we would be talking about this. There's a reason why, yeah, I'm called out Will Smith for it, because that was sucker shit that he did. There ain't no way around it. Your wife don't even respect you, man. What does his mother think of Jada?
His mama probably told him not to marry that heifer.
His mom actually went on ABC. Was it ABC? They interviewed her. She said that's the first time she ever seen him respond like that. She was disappointed. And whenever your mom is disappointed, obviously that's not a good sign. Your mom tells you you're wrong, you're wrong. So Willow wrote this letter. I know you are alive. Dear Tupac, I know you're alive someplace. I think that my mommy really misses you. Can you please come back? Can you come back so mommy and me can be happy? So she says, mommy and me. I wish you were here. I really do. Love, Willow. He spent money on that birthday party. You could, and she's talking about midlife crisis. Shit, keep it to your fucking self. If your husband does something for you nice, or your spouse does something for you nice, you play it off, even if you don't like it. Am I right?
No, you're right.
Your husband put time and energy in it. It would be like if you went to a house for a poor person, they offered you some food. It's the only food they have, and you turned it down. Like what you saw in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom when he told her this is the only food. He told Willie, this is the only food these people have. Don't insult them. No, Tupac wouldn't come back from the dead to reunite with that, because if Tupac, there's a reason Tupac apparently wasn't even smashing her.
Tupac already knew the deal with her. That's why he left her alone.
Yeah, he messed with Quincy Jones' daughter.
He knew he couldn't build with her.
Why do you think Will Smith's son is the only one that seems normal? His first son. The other one, I don't know what to make of him. Jaden, but Trey, I mean, he seems like an upright young man. He seems like he's a good kid. He's normal.
No, that's all because of the mother. The mother is the first teacher. When the mother is right, your kid's going to be right.
But you know what happened when Will married Jada? He didn't have, and they even said this, and he talked about this, they have a hands-on off approach. That's why they walk around in dresses, and the girl wears men's clothes and the boy's wearing dresses.
That all comes from that mama being a mess. Talking about all of her artsy, fartsy. She's just the wrong woman to have kids with. You got to be careful about who you get involved with and who you have as your wife, because that's going to be reflected in your kids.
Yeah. And look, I think Will Smith made a mistake. I don't think he should not like. I think this is where I draw the line too, Sean. At some point, you can't punish the people that work with Will Smith because of something he did. Like I don't. Martin Lawrence shouldn't have to not make Bad Boys 4 because of Will Smith. Those actors and actresses that were in that movie, they relied on this. So I don't think that movie should not be made. And I think they will make it because if it makes money, then it makes sense.
Yep.
But I don't know. No, Dave Chappelle. I don't know if Dave has said anything. Lavelle Crawford has gone off. We saw that. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Were you laughing, Sean? I was hoping you laughed at least at Lavelle Crawford.
Well, I didn't see that yet. I didn't see anything related to that because I've been real busy on projects.
I know you have, but look at that. Like Ellen, she looked like Ripley from Alien 3. Gothic Ripley.
That's just terrible. She just looks terrible. He messed up his daughters. She messed up his kids. She turned them into children of the corn.
This child wrote this.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna say she did.
I believe she did.
I believe she wrote it. Let's put it this way. I believe she wrote it because it was added to her. They said they had it on the Instagram back in 2012. And she was 11 years old at the time. It looks like an 11-year-old would write that handwriting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're life partners. They're not married. They're married. It's a marriage of convenience.
Yeah.
She gets the benefits and money, and she keeps his secrets. That's what I think's going on. And look, I like Will Smith. I still do. He's a hell of an actor. From what I hear on sets, most of what I heard, he's a good guy from what I've heard. But obviously, when that happened with Chris Rock, and then I'm hearing Tommy Davidson had a run-in with him on the set of Woo.
Simping over this female who ain't worth 2 cents.
But Sean, you wanted to say something more?
Well, I'm hoping that Will Smith gets some help, but if that help doesn't include Dr. Robert Glover, then it's just absolutely going to be useless because
who's Robert Glover? Tell everybody.
Dr. Robert Glover wrote the book No More Mr. Nice Guy, and he knows more about the beta male paradigm than I do, and he's the only person who I believe could really help break Will Smith free of this paradigm because he himself has broken hundreds of people out of the beta male paradigm or the nice guy paradigm. And if there's no Dr. Glover there to give Will Smith counseling, then it's all in vain because Dr. Glover knows more than even I do. And his Mr. Nice Guy book was the foundation for some of the facts that I picked up in The Man Crisis. And the only way your Will Smith is going to start healing is he's going to have to work with a true professional like Dr. Glover. And he's also going to have to go out here and get rid of Jada Pinkett Smith because clearly this woman has no respect for him. The marriage is practically over at this point, and this whole situation with him going into rehab is not going to be constructive unless he takes constructive action to work with professionals who can actively rehabilitate him because he needs the help of somebody who knows his pattern and his paradigm, and he needs somebody who can go out here and help him identify where he's going wrong with his life. Because again, a lot of celebrities, they go into rehab and it's just some playground, but they make no changes. But if Will Smith really wants to make changes, he has to get in touch with Dr. Robert Glover, and he really has to go out here and really start making efforts to break free of this nice guy paradigm, because that's why he's picking these female predators to get involved with. That's why he's getting involved with toxic women like Jada Pinkett Smith. And that's why he's trying to hold on to a toxic female like a Jada Pinkett Smith, because he thinks he can't do better. He's got low self-esteem. He thinks that he has to go out here and make this thing work because a lot of nice guy beta males, they want to make their world smooth and they want no conflicts and no obstacles and no problems. But this woman is a problem all around, and he's going to have to go out here and cut his losses as related to things. And that's another thing he's probably afraid to do. But he doesn't see that he's losing the longer he keeps this toxic woman in his life, and he's losing every day that he doesn't really take that critical look at himself and deal with his issues. Now, I may make a video on that subject later this week, but the whole thing is that Will really needs to really take a look at himself and realize that his marriage is over. And if he wants to go out here and save his business ventures, he's going to have to let go of the biggest liability, which is your Jada Pinkett Smith. Because if your wife does not respect you and does not want to go out here and cooperate with you, it leads to you becoming frustrated and angry. And your Will has been frustrated and angry for way too long, because not only has he gotten involved with this toxic female, but he has this life paradigm where he continues to try to call himself fixing broken women. But the more he tries to fix the broken women, they wind up breaking him, and he's falling apart because he's involved with a lot of these broken women. So when I look at Will Smith, I mean, what's happening to him is really, really bad, but there are ways for him to get help. But I'm hoping he doesn't go out here and put a superficial rehab job on it, because he needs to go and get into a group with a lot of other men who are in the same situation. And that's why I recommend he go out here and seek out Dr. Robert Glover and find that Mr. Nice Guy group so that they can show him where he's making his mistakes.
And look, Jada cheated on her husband with this fucker.
Yeah, that scumbag, that little weasel.
He's about to get a bag.
Yeah.
Too. He's about to get a bag because he's gonna be writing a tell-all book
with crayons. Boy, don't know nothing.
Purple or red?
Probably some red ones, because he can't see past the spectrum. Boy, slower than molasses.
Oh Lord. Oh man.
Because August Alsina, he's just a scavenger. I think he was an opportunist looking to use everybody.
But look at this. You look at body language. Now that's her with August Alsina at the BET Awards in 2017. She's a married woman on the arm of this. It'd be one thing if he was there with the family, but wife.
But that's disrespectful right there. I mean, you on the arm of
the body language here. Look at how look at how Jada looks here with August. Now look at how she is with Will. She's not smiling.
Nope.
Her body language. It looks like
stiff and tired.
She's stiff.
She doesn't want to be there.
She does not.
I say send her back to the streets. Send her back to the red and white chicken place. Let her go and try to live her life, and let her go out here and try to go out here and let this other man take care of you. I mean, that's what I would have said a long time ago. Once I saw the Tupac letter and I heard her talking about other men, it would have been, I'm sending you over to Tupac's grave, and you can go get your stuff from Tupac's grave. And that's going to be the end of it right there. Because any man of character, once he hears his woman talking about another man, that's when he sends her to go be with that other man.
Yeah, she can go dry hump a ghost. But then again, Tupac's ghost wouldn't even harm.
And he didn't even want her then. He's like, why is he with Quincy Jones' daughter? Because he know he can't build with her. She's a jump off. She's a side piece. And she's the only thing you give her is a 2-piece chicken dinner and some coleslaw, and you send her on her way.
She's a simp. He's a simp. She's a witch. He married Jada. He was the Fresh Prince. She kissed him, and he turned into a simp.
Yep.
Usually the Princess and the Frog, this is the reverse. This is the prince. This is the Fresh Prince and the Fresh Prince and the witch. She kissed him, and he turned into a simp. Damn.
Yep. He was a simp before that, because he got involved with one female who cheated on him. He got involved with that lady from Salt and Pepper who went out here and dissed him.
What lady was cheating on him?
I mean, he had another girlfriend who cheated on him with another dude. This was in his Jazzy Jeff days.
Yeah.
He got cheated on. I mean, he's like the average typical beta male in that you're always picking these female predators because you're trying to fix these females, not understanding that women are as is, and either she want to be with you or not, and you ain't got to go out here and chase no female. But what he does is he gets involved with these type of women, and he has to look at himself and see his pattern and see that his pattern is a destructive pattern. And that's something I myself had to do back when I was 16 years old. When you see a pattern not working, you have to realize that you have to change your life paradigm and ask God, the Most High, to help change your life paradigm. Because if things aren't working, then you have to stop doing those things because they're destroying you. But sadly, Will has not really looked at his pattern as related to the women he's picking and realizing that he's not picking women who are wife material. And that's why he's getting involved with these predators like this.
Have Ben Crump represent him. We are here today because Jada Pinkett Smith needs to be divorced by Will Smith today. We want justice for Will Smith. We want him freedom from simping. We want everything for him. You are Judge Joe Brown. I'm representing Mr. Smith in this case because this Jezebel spirit that's messing up this country is causing dysfunction. It's destroying manhood and all kinds of other bullshit. I didn't spend 3 years in UCLA and 40 other years practicing in Tennessee as the first black public defender and prosecutor of representing this stuff, of seeing this dysfunction that we seeing by these renegade heifers. It's ridiculous. Will Smith needs to man up, and I'm going to give him some man up training, son. Okay, Judge, but I want to give, because I had the retainer for this. That sound like Ben Crump.
I never heard him, but it might be pretty close.
You didn't hear Ben Crump? I was playing the video. You didn't hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, I'm going to play it right quick so you can hear it. So this is a clip. So this is Ben Crump.
Ben Crump.
When he sought compensation for the family of an unarmed 17-year-old high school student who was visiting his father when he was shot and killed walking through his dad's neighborhood.
Once again, law enforcement is attempting to demonize and blame the victim.
Crump seared an image into the national consciousness of Trayvon Martin,
Alicia Thomas. And then we come to 2020, which during a pandemic where everything is shut down except implicit bias and police brutality in America. You see Ahmaud Arbery lynched for jogging while black. Then Breonna Taylor is killed in the sanctity of her own home. Then
that's Ben Crump. Judge, I don't know if I didn't see anybody say anything if I sounded like him or what, but Robert, shout out to Robert, he asked me to do Ben Crump, so I Bishop Scott said she's a witch spelled with a B. Bishop. No, shame. Bishop, why don't you give Will and Jada counseling? You up there in Philadelphia. Get with his mama. Tell him. Will Smith's mom go to your church? Get him out of Scientology. What's my? I didn't have much to say too, but hit that like and subscribe. I found out I didn't even know this woman, but she's an entertainer. You guys probably don't even care, but I have put this in the description. She's from New Orleans, a local entertainer, Chris Owens, who was a performer, burlesque performer in New Orleans, died. You guys probably don't even know her, but she was real popular in the city. Apparently, she had a bar up in the French Quarter, so everybody's been making, talking about her death. She was almost 90 years old. But she was inducted, just a little history on her, on April 22nd, 2006. She was inducted into the New Orleans Musical Legends Park with a statue created in her likeness, which is there. And her name stands next to other musical greats such as Fats Domino, Pete Fountain, Alan Toussaint, Irma Thomas, Al Hurt, Ronnie Cole, and Louis Prima. Of course, Alan Toussaint, they're actually talking about naming, I think, Lee Circle, where Lee Circle is, after him now. I think that, no, what happened, Robert E. Lee Boulevard is now named Alan Toussaint Boulevard. So he has that, Lee Circle, I think they want to rename it. They should rename it to Fats Domino Circle. Or Louis, I would even say Louis Armstrong. Yeah, I know, I'm just talking random stuff. It's Random Topic Thursdays, guys. But yeah, I didn't know Chris Owens don't much, but may she rest in peace. Yonder said never heard of her till a report. I saw her during the Mardi Gras tribute, Mardi Gras parade. They had her come out. Let's just go and play this right. Let me play this right quick. Get that fair use. But yeah, she's got a bar on Bourbon Street.
We begin with this breaking news today.
So they're supposed to have a public viewing Sunday, April 10th at 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. in a private funeral.
New Orleans entertainer Chris Owens has died. The performer was 89 years old.
You see her right there, known as the Queen of the Bouquet.
Owens rose to fame in the French Quarter for her over-the-top performances, attitude, and hospitality, which touched so many lives. Her club on Bourbon Street in St. Louis opened back in 1956.
To this day, her annual Easter parade rolls through the famed French Quarter with Owens always waving and leading the floats through her neighborhood. Chris Owens was inducted into the New Orleans Musical Legends Park with a statue created in her likeness. Her image now stands next to musical giants like Fats Domino, Pete Fountain, and Alan Toussaint. Meanwhile, news of Owens' passing has quickly spread across the city of New Orleans.
WDSU's Shay O'Connor is live for us on Bourbon Street today with the reaction from the community. Shay?
That's right, Stella and Travers. I mean, a legendary performer indeed. I've been here speaking to people here along Bourbon Street since the news broke, and nearly everyone knows Chris Owens is. Like right behind me, her legendary bar, the Chris Owens Club. It's been here for decades. I'm told she opened it way back in 1957. As we know, she was a hugely popular Bourbon Street performer, known for her spunk and helping to put Bourbon Street on the map. I actually just spoke with a local musician who actually knew Owens. He's reacting to the news.
No, we didn't see her too often, less than so as the years went by. But always just great joy because she was just one of the really, one of the legends, And I'm getting emotional.
Now, right now, the bar is closed, but that hasn't stopped many people from just coming into this area and paying their respects. And I'll have much more from here along Bourbon Street at 5 p.m. Reporting live from downtown New Orleans in the French Quarter, Shay O'Connor, WDSU News.
All right.
I didn't even know too much about it, but I saw that was news trending here in New Orleans. May she rest in peace. Shawn, I know you probably don't have much to say about it because you've never even heard of her.
I've never heard of her, so I can't really speak on her.
Yeah. But Bourbon Street, as you've probably seen by the videos and everything you saw, it's a tourist attraction. It's anything goes and stuff down there. So she was one of those performers, her club was very popular, still is very popular, obviously now even in her passing, where they did live performances and stuff, and especially around Mardi Gras, that Bourbon Street is always packed. French Quarter is always packed. But yeah, Black Voltron said he saw an article on her today. All right. All the way up in California. Yes, the Big Easy reaches the San Francisco, the Golden City. Isn't San Francisco the Golden City?
Yeah, I think it is.
Golden Bridge, yeah. Shit, name it after Robert Smalls. How about PBS Pinchback Circle, the first black governor? He was in the Union Army. That's a war he fought. Am I right?
Yeah.
Robert Smalls, how about him?
I don't know.
Robert Smalls was a former slave who commandeered a Confederate warship called the CSS Planner at the Charleston Harbor and sailed it into from Confederate controlled waters to the harbors of the United States. And because of his actions, he allowed Abraham Lincoln to accept more black soldiers into the United States Army. Of course, he was in the Navy. He was in the United States Navy and he was in the United States Army. He also became senator out of South Carolina. I mean, he was in the House of Representatives. I said senator, excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is where he sailed. If I could just show everybody, just giving some people a history lesson. We're about to wrap it up in a minute, Shawn, but
all right.
This is where he sailed. This is the CSS Planner. And this is the marker of the map of Charleston Harbor defenses. So he sailed out of that. This is that's one of his chief rivals, but yeah, that's Robert Small. So he had to sail out of there and go north. Yeah, so that was interesting. This black man did that.
Yep.
They actually named a naval base where they recruited and trained black sailors in the Navy during World War II after him. So yeah, shout out to Robert Smalls, but that's just an observation on me. Yeah, Robert Smalls was a gangster. Marcus Garvey was deported out of New Orleans, exactly. Because of course New Orleans is a port city, and what's closer to New Orleans? The islands like Cuba and Jamaica. He was sailed out of there.
Yep.
All right. Shawn, did you have anything else you want to say? Any plugins you want to do?
The only plugin I have is to talk about the SJS Direct 2022 books once again. The SJS Direct 2022 books are now available on Amazon.com in paperback, and you can pick up ISIS Legacy and E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman in paperback right now on Amazon.com. And you can also find ISIS Legacy on Kindle right now and pre-order E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman, which will be available on Friday, May 13th.
All right. That's what's up, man. Shout out to you. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to go hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Order you some Nani's Creole seasoning blends. Yeah, I want to make some documentaries. That's my next goal. I want to produce some documentaries on blacks in World War II, blacks in the Union, the Navy, especially early in the day. I mean, you have a lot of black history in the military that most people don't know about.
Yeah.
And
that would be a good documentary to make.
Yes, of course, most people have already heard about the 54th Regiment, but there are other regiments that a lot of people are not familiar with, especially during during the Civil War, the role of blacks and that they played. For instance, during the Civil War, how many of you know the state that actually had the largest amount of Black American soldiers?
Didn't know that.
How many of y'all know? Who knows what the state is? Trying to see if anybody in the chat. Well, that would be my home state.
Yeah.
Right. In Louis, you had over 186,097 Black men who joined the United States Army. 7,122 were officers, and 178,975 were enlisted soldiers. And Martin Delaney was a man who was an officer. He actually was he actually held the highest rank in the Union Army. He was a major. He was also a doctor. The first Louisiana National Guard, Native Guard, was one of the many Louisiana Union Civil War units formed in my home city of New Orleans. So that would be an excellent documentary to do. What do you think, Shawn?
I think it would be an excellent documentary to put together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know that I told Shawn we're going to wrap it up, but we're going to wrap this up in a little bit. Did you have anybody else have any last word, anything else they want to say? So someone said Texas. John Winthrop, yes. Then John is the creator of Cajun Fire Brewery, which is here in Louisiana. He's one of the few Black. He's been on the show before. You know him, Shawn.
Yeah.
Cajun Fire Brewery. John, come on. I want you to advertise now. We Black owned. Come on, bro. Come advertise with the channel. If you got a Black owned business, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to advertise. Look at that email. Hit me up for rates. Also, join the Patreon. If you want to see some of my stand-up specials and so forth, go to the Patreon. I upload some of the videos there. I've headlined on there. Black Voltron, you were right. It was Louisiana. In fact, that's the number there, 24,502 soldiers. That's a lot. Kentucky actually had, Kentucky, I think it was second with 23,000. Now, look how many Texas had. And Texas is a big state, 47. Damn, that's surprising. But yeah, I want you all hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. I need you all to please donate to the Cash App if you could, at the ticker at the bottom. Please also go to our Facebook page, subscribe to @CommonwealthCause, subscribe to @CommonwealthCause. Also, ladies and gentlemen, go to Amazon and Apple and download Video Soul, as well as our theme song, Gotta Get On Up. But before we get on out, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to say right quickly, happy birthday to Harvey Superboy. Your birthday was yesterday. Harvey turned 64, vice versa. So happy birthday, Harvey Superboy.
Happy birthday, Harvey.
All right. Yeah, we're going to hear, I'm sure Harvey will make a video about this, about the birthday wishes. You're going to hear that beep, beep. Now, y'all know I had to come on here because they did this, G-Boot and Shawn, they did this birthday shout out for me. So I just want to thank you all. And I don't have Harvey down yet. But yeah, hit that Cash App. Thank you, Shawn. Check out his books, ladies and gentlemen. Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Will Smith needs to read that.
Yeah.
Simping in the Workplace. When Will Smith said he was in love with Stockard Channing, Black people was like, the fuck?
Yeah, he needs Dr. Glover. I'm going to have to do a video telling him that he needs to go talk to Dr. Glover. That's
Stockard Channing. Stockard Channing? Huh? When you heard that, weren't you like, who?
Yeah.
Was I the only one that said that? And also, guys, check out, we'll be on the lookout for our first episode of Unsolved Mysteries. I'm trying to get that released soon. So, yeah, stop simping, Will. Stop. All right, guys. That's it. It's been a great show. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you, family. Black Voltron, Frank Nitty, Will Smith and Rizzo from Greece. Yeah.
All right. Well,
I said the same thing. Who's Stockard Channing? This is, I know you got to run, Shawn, but thank you.
all right. Thank you for having me on the air.
Good night. That's Stockard
Night, night.
Channing. She was in 6 Degrees of Separation. And we know what Will did in that movie. He did a little bit of method acting. 6 Degrees of Separation. All right. Okay, guys, I'm getting out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of the evening. I'll see y'all in the next one. I'll holla. Peace. Good night, fam. I just want to tell y'all before I go, ladies and gentlemen, Will Smith, that was terrible what you did. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Your ass need to come down and hang out with Charles Barkley sometime at the TNT set. We can talk about Stockard Channing. I think Stockard Channing is a fine woman. Stockard Channing is fine. She's fine. Fine. Come on, Will Smith. Let's go. Let's see Stockard Channing. Stockard Channing sounds like clam chowder for whatever reason. I like clam chowder with some nachos. This is that's Stockard Channing. He has gone off the deep end. Wild Wild West. Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West.